So let's talk a little bit about the materials that you're going to need. First of all, you're going to need electronic stapler as well as staples. In this case, I'm using 1/4-inch staples. Next, you're going to need spray adhesive. In this case, I like using the 3M Super 77. Now, I just stay away from that if you're doing a complex panel. I only like using it on these flatter panels that have very minimal curves. So that's what I'm going to be using in this case. Ignore the brushes and the DAP weldwood. Actually going to be using that in a future video. So in this case, just the spray glue. Now you're also going to want a heat gun, a razor knife, and scissors. Now you're also going to need your materials that you're covering with. In this case, I'm going to be using suede as well as vinyl. Make sure while you're at the store that the material is nice and stretchy. Now you're also going to need your templates. Make sure that you've prepared your templates by using a rabbiting bit. You can see this in one of my previous videos that shows how to use the rabbiting bit and make a nice groove. Alright, so let's begin. First step here is I go ahead and take my templates and I trace them onto whatever material that I'm going to be using. Now obviously do it on the back side of the material. And what you're going to want to do is just go ahead and cut that shape out with some nice sharp scissors. Alright, now you're going to go ahead and spray both your template and your material with the spray glue. Then allow it to tack. I cannot stress enough the importance of allowing it to tack. You want to wait a good 10 to 15 minutes until when you touch it with a piece of cardboard, it does like this, where it just barely sticks on its own. Now that your glue is nice and tacky, you're going to go ahead and start applying the material. Now notice, because I have a hole in the middle here, I'm not just laying it flat on. I'm actually kind of pushing it into the middle before I go ahead and smooth out the other side. Now where that really helps is once you cut a slit in the middle, it gives you the ability to actually wrap the material a lot more effectively on the inside without having any sort of weird seams. So I just go ahead and lightly smooth it on. It's going to be pretty tacky, so it should tack pretty easily. And I should also note, always do this kind of stuff on extra pieces of cardboard. You don't want to, get this glue all over your workbench or anything like that, because it can be pretty sticky. So anyway, let's go on to the next step here. So once you've smoothed the piece out quite a bit, you're going to go ahead and take your knife and just make a slit on the inside of the piece. Now obviously this only applies if you have the inside of a piece to work with, but I just make a slit down the middle, and then what I go ahead and do is take some nice sharp scissors and I cut what I call fingers into the corner. Now what the fingers allows you to do is really pull on the material and to get it around the curve onto the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut my fingers, and let's go on to the next step. Alright, so now I go ahead and bust out my electric stapler and start with stapling the fingers in the corners. Now you're going to want to really take your time, as the corners are probably the most difficult part. Really pull, the material up there and staple it so that it looks nice and clean. Take your time with this. So now this kind of shows the advantage of having the rabbited edge. I can really just go along and quickly put staples into this material. Not only that, it looks nice and clean. So now I go ahead and take my razor knife and I run it in that rabbited groove. You've seen this in some of my previous videos, but it really just allows for a nice clean cut. Now in this particular piece, there was no ability to actually staple the outside of the material because the piece was so skinny. So what I'm showing you here is, if you have the glue tacked up nicely and nice and dry, you can just go ahead and run the blade kind of like I am here, and it still leaves a nice clean edge. I wouldn't recommend this, only do it if you have to do it, but in this case it's going to be okay because this is an insert panel anyway. So here is our nice finished insert piece. It looks great. So now we're going to move on to our larger panel here. Once again, we're going to use the spray glue, and I'm just going to make nice short little passes, go along and apply just to this half of the actual piece itself. You'll see that I kind of only do this top part, And I've already sprayed a little bit of glue on the vinyl on the right there, as you can see. But just like you did before, you're going to want to go ahead and put spray glue on both surfaces and allow it to dry for 10 to 15 minutes so it's nice and tacky. Alright, so now that I've given my glue ample amount of time to dry, I go ahead and check it with my piece of cardboard like usual, and then I go ahead and just lightly lay the vinyl over it. Now, luckily, if you're doing this right away in the tack time, you can still kind of work the vinyl. You can pull it away if you need to reattach it like I did right there. You can see I kind of lay it on, line everything up, and I just start smoothing it out with my fingers. So here you can see that it's really starting to take shape. I've really smoothed it out with my fingers. So now I go ahead and take a razor blade, and you're going to want to cut out any sort of holes on your particular piece that you're covering. So once again, I cut a hole down the center, and then I just go ahead and do the fingers like I did previous in the video. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply more spray adhesive to the rest of the template. After once again allowing my adhesive to tack, I check it quickly with the little cardboard piece, and then I'm just going to go ahead and slowly work the material onto the template. Now I'm going to go ahead and start making my fingers on the inside corner of this particular large template. Now I should mention, if you have any issues with the material actually stretching in these corners, that's when you can go ahead and use your heat gun. Just lightly apply heat, if you will, and just don't go overboard to the point where you actually melt the vinyl. So here I am cutting the fingers. And once I'm done cutting the fingers, I'll go ahead and cut a large chunk out of the inside of this piece since it is so large. So here you can see I now have that large chunk cut out, and I've cut all my fingers in all the corners. So I'm ready to go ahead and start stapling this on the inside. So here you can see I'm once again stapling the fingers in the corner, and I'm going to go to a close-up here in this next clip. Here I want to show you how I actually do a hard outside corner. So what I do is kind of make a slit that's right in line with that corner, straight away from it. So you're going to have all this extra material, so I go ahead and kind of cut a triangle away from it. So what that leaves you is like a V, if you will, right at the corner. So then I go ahead and kind of pull the material away from the corner, and you're going to have a wrinkle, but it allows you to kind of spread that wrinkle out along a little bit of room. So you can see there, now it's nice and clean. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing on this other side of the corner here. Again, pull away from the corner. So I have that wrinkle, but I can go ahead and pull it out easily. So now I've gone completely around the outside perimeter with all the staples, and once again I just want to show you the ease of having a rabbited edge. Look how nice and clean and quickly I can remove the material with my razor blade. So here's a nice up close view of the finished product. I really like the 45-degree chamfers I put on there. Turned out really well. Alright, so there you have it. Nice wrapped trim panel. Now, I was originally going to make this one video, but it ended up going longer than I desired. So what we're actually going to do, you know, this is a much more complex piece because of all the curves. I'm going to be showing this in the next episode. So if you guys haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Please like this video and stay tuned in. Take care, guys.